Hi, I'd like to start off with this video by apologizing for how long this video took. Um, when I was recording the voiceover, one week I got a head cold, which made my voice very gross sounding, and I was like, this would not be good to record. And then literally the next week after that, I got another head cold thing that wasn't the same thing, but it sucked both times. And now it's finally here where I'm like, cool, I'm finally feeling good. So I'm finally recording again. So, sorry about that. On to the video. Hi everyone, I'm back again with another video, and this time I'm doing fan art. I don't usually do fan art, but for some reason this 1962 song has just captivated me for some reason. I love the chorus. It's called The Night Has a Thousand Eyes by Bobby V. I'll go more into the song's meaning afterwards, but for now I just wanted to point out how rough my thumbnails are. I feel like I have a really hard time, maybe it's not lately, but just in general, putting my thoughts to paper, or digitally for that matter. So you can see I go through a few iterations of trying to capture what I had in my head and putting it down on paper. So then I resort to blocking out with color and shapes, and it still kind of didn't work for me. I was talking to my dad about my frustrations with this. I feel like I have a really hard time envisioning something in my head. So take for instance, a raccoon in a trash bin. He was like, yeah, Emily, I totally see all the details. I see it all. Like it's crystal clear for me. Whereas for me is I can also see the raccoon in the trash bin, but it just feels more like blurred to me. I almost wonder if that's why I like to draw from observation more than I do abstract things, just because I see it better. Anyways, back to the drawing. So I tried to draw the shapes that I could see in my head, like the light in the woman's dress. One last side note, this clip right here shows just how slow my computer sometimes registers Photoshop. It's an old computer. I just got a kick out of it though. I think I get an idea better down traditionally because this is exactly what I did. I took a break, drew a little thumbnail in my sketchbook, and it turned out a lot better. So I took it back into Photoshop, and now I'm basically just drawing over it to get more solidified lines. The next thing I wanted to do was set up a one-point perspective. Doing that, I just used the polygon tool, and you can see the different settings I use. So with the one-point perspective in place, I start roughing out the background. As I was starting to define more and more of the piece, it was at this point when I was reminded of a Van Gogh painting that reminds me very similar of this, called Cafe Terrace at Night. And this was totally by accident, but honestly I don't really mind that it kind of looks like it, because in general with this piece what I wanted to accomplish was something a little more looser than what I typically do. I feel like I constantly have like a similar style to a lot of the things I draw, so I tried to branch out a little bit. Right now is probably a good time to mention the background of the song. Basically, Bobby, he has a girlfriend, and he's pretty much suspecting her to not be as faithful as she says she is. I guess she gets around, which honestly, go off, I don't care. But basically, he would find that she was cheating on him because the night has 1,000 eyes. And now that makes sense that, at least to me, it makes sense that now the eyes of the night are just, people like walking around doing their own thing in the middle of the night. This person goes out to, like in this scene, like to like dinner or something. Like, okay, so people see them. Like people are gonna tell Bobby, and Bobby's gonna be a little mad. But when I first heard the song, honestly, I was just listening to it because I love the chorus. But when I first heard it, I perceived the eyes, the 1,000 eyes, to be all the stars in the night sky. And personally, I liked my, idea of it better. Not to say that the other one is wrong. I think it's completely right. I just like the stars being the witnesses in the night. So, yeah. going back to the video, now you can see that I'm working on the people. To get these poses to look nice, I took reference pictures in the bathroom mirror, and those pictures will not be shown. But you'll see soon that I start roughing out the clothing, and I wanted to make it kind of similar to what you would see in, what was this song released in? 1964? Basically the early 60s. I wanted to try to make it feel a little bit like it. It doesn't need to be exactly like it, but just inspired by it. You'll soon see the hairstyle I have for the woman. I think it's I tried to make it like a beehive type of, there's like one picture I followed that, like, you know, I took inspiration from, and it kind of was like half down, half up. But yeah, beehives are a crazy hairstyle. But they're fun, you know. For the guy, I basically just put him in a suit. Nothing crazy about the guy, honestly. I gave him a little hat. Soon you'll see it. So yeah. Also, I should mention that the guy in the actual picture is not supposed to be Bobby. It's supposed to be the girl going out with someone who's not Bobby. So, just to let y'all know the lore. Yeah. In my head, by the way, I originally didn't have like faces for the characters. I didn't really have like a lot of detail in general for a lot of the picture. I wanted this to kind of be like a lineless like painting, but this was more just to kind of lay out for me in like the color in like shading stage, like where I wanted where I felt the shading would be natural. Though I will say I spend way too much time on their faces, especially the girls, just because I feel like I didn't like get it right. Like she just looked off to me. But basically, I spent way too much time on that thing that literally will not be shown. Well, except for here on the video, but the final product, there's really no faces at all. Now we're moving on to the Thousand Eyes in the Night Sky, and this is more just trying to construct it in a way, because I really wasn't satisfied with how I was drawing it, so I was trying to maybe make it more uniform. Then I pushed the pupils to look just a little bit towards the couple, and I think it looks really cool. I also made a brush for this picture. Basically, it was just a hard round brush, but I spaced it out enough to where it made it look all like wobbly looking. And this one, I didn't want the lines to be so crisp and like, you know, clean. I wanted to give it a little texture, but ultimately have a graphic look. Now we're heading into the coloring phase of it. And again, this is one of those things where I didn't really know exactly what I wanted. So you'll see there's a lot of experimentation. But I first started with the sky, just to kind of get an idea of like what I want the gradient to look like. At this point, I was just blocking in colors just to get something on the canvas. This light beam was honestly one of the only things I really could visualize in my head when I first thought of the image. So it was crucial to have that with it. And then also the red of the woman's dress. I was also one of the only other things I could really like visualize with it, so those two are definitely going to be the strongest shapes, I think, compared to everything else. You can see here I turned off the line layer because at the end of the day this is going to be a lineless picture, and I actually really was liking how the wobbly brush was looking without the lines, because that was one of the things I was really nervous about, was that it was just going to look too undefined, just literally look blobby, but it looked good. You'll see a lot with, I think, most of my drawings, when it comes to picking colors, I just try to make sure that they have contrast to them, especially for this one, seeing as it would be close to a lineless piece. You really want to make sure that, you know, the edges show themselves and not just with lines. I should say too, this isn't going to be 100% a lineless piece. There are some lines that are still going to be left intact. It's just not going to be my typical like look of like a bold like black line or anything like that. It's going to be a lot more subtle. Like you'll see it with in the road here, how I'm making it look, I'm painting it like a different color than the black that's actually there. My favorite part of the piece has got to be the sky. I absolutely love just drawing a giant ball of light when it comes to the moon, and especially the stars as well. I just made like a random brush and basically used the color dynamics feature to where every single dot is a different color, and it's a subtle touch. I enjoyed it a lot. And then my next favorite part of any painting is adding in like little glowing bits where like the sky, and then also almost like a light coming in from behind the viewer, I guess, of the picture. I like it a lot. I think it adds a lot to a picture. Don't go overboard though. Now we're coloring the people. Like I mentioned earlier, the red of the dress was a very crucial part of me to get right. I like it a lot. I think the red looks nice, personally. I guess when I first was thinking about the colors for this piece, like back before I even like made a thumbnail sketch, a lot of it was dealing with like the primary colors. So like the yellow of the beam, the primary red of the dress. I would have figured some way to put the primary blue in there somehow. I guess you could say his hat or even like the background, but it really wasn't that like, powerful of a blue, so I don't know. It definitely though I was thinking a lot about, oh wait, now that I think about it, I was thinking about the blue of the stars, the eyes. That's what I was thinking about. Never mind. And again, now we're at my favorite, I guess, coloring phase of the drawing, the shading in part. The shading in part, it's like, I swear, if it's like, if you have any doubts in the drawing, just add like a layer of values and it's like, boom. Everything just makes it pop so much more. I love it so much. So good. And that's one thing too with the shading now being established. Now it's like, okay, I don't necessarily mind the faces not having, not being there, but at the same time it's like I'm just not getting a good vibe from it, because it honestly reminds me of like those like vector faces. I don't know if you ever see like vector art where the faces just are blank for some reason. And so I was really scared that would be the case for me. So I was like, okay, if we can somehow add something that can make it not that, because I really didn't want it to look like that. But I don't know why I was very stubborn on making it so that there were no faces. I really didn't want there to be faces. I wanted it to almost be like it's inanimous in a way. Either way, we're reaching the end of the video. You can see now that I'm basically just finishing up a few details, making it look more polished. I was playing with the idea of having a border or not. I also liked it without that like black bar there, just to show all the gradients. I thought it was kind of cool, but at the end of the day I decided to just do no border at all, and just leave it as that. And I'm happy with that, honestly. I really enjoyed the colors on this one, and I liked that it wasn't just a bunch of lines. I kind of like trying different stuff. I mean, it wasn't like, the most different, craziest thing I've ever done by any means, but it was definitely just a little bit different, and I enjoyed a little bit different, So, anyways, if you like this video, thank you. It's always cool that people watch these things. Honestly, I don't ever think people will, but hey, it's fun for me to do, so I don't really care. I'm gonna keep doing them. But anyways, thank you for liking this. If you did, I hope you did. I'll be making another one day in the future. Thanks. Bye.